I won't publish until you... Oh, hello, phone.
It's my daughter.
Yeah.
Hi, Lulu. I'm just being interviewed live on YouTube.
Welcome to Creative Minds, where I sit down with people who know a lot more than I do about the world of filmmaking in order to get answers to questions from both me and you. Today we're talking to Darren Mostyn, who's got one of the fastest growing Davinci Resolve YouTube channels that I've ever seen. He's also a professional colorist with big name clients like Amazon and BBC and a whole bunch of others. So I was really fortunate to be able to sit down, talk to him about how he got started, and even get some advice for getting into the world of professional color grading. Now, what you're about to watch is just a small portion of what ended up being like an hour and 11-minute long conversation with Darren, but don't worry, if you stick around till the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get your hands on the uncut version of the interview. Let's jump into the conversation. Let's start at the beginning. You're a professional colorist, and I know you've been in the game for a while, but I don't really know the specifics of how that came to be. I don't even know like how one would did you just fall into that? Like, what was this, like an intentional thing? What's the story?
Yes, sort of. I don't think I took a logical route. It's got a fair bit to do with my age, actually, probably more than anything. I studied photography at art college, so I've always had a passion for images and that sort of thing. But this is pre-Photoshop. This is proper linear photography. So we're talking... Right. Dark rooms and chemicals. And so I worked in a college in a media department, so doing lots of analog tape-to-tape editing, that sort of thing. And then I got introduced to a company called Fast, who were based, a Munich-based company, but they had a London office. And they were at the very forefront of non-linear editing technology. So they were... I went to a show that they were doing, and they literally were playing video off a computer. And this playing video off a computer was just seen as, this was witchcraft. It was, people are literally looking around the back of the computer, seeing what's going on. It was pretty out there. And for it to play back, smooth as well. They took me on. So I ended up working for them in London and had 5 or 6 years with them, which was fantastic opportunity to be right at the forefront of digital editing. This was a really important part of my career path because those people that I met in the industry at that time have gone on to work for the bigger companies, Avids and Grass Valleys and people like that. I was really at the start, and I was an editor at this point, so I came from analog editing background. And they took me under their wing because they needed editors, not computer engineers. After a few years, I decided to go freelance. So I set up Online Creative, which is where I am today. So this is now, it's grown a little bit. It's now a boutique post facility. But at the time, it was just an umbrella name for Darren Mostyn, effectively. Right. And I was very lucky, got picked up to do the ATP, the tennis tour, the world tour. So I did the whole editing highlights packages for the whole tour. So literally flying around the world. We were literally 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But this was the world's first ever Avid Unity broadcast system. And that got me into the world of sport editing highlights. So I was getting quicker and quicker on these NLEs. The technology was getting faster and faster and faster and better. And Avid introduced a product called Symphony, which allowed us to do pretty high-end color grading, pretty decent color grading, albeit in the field. So we're on laptops or even regular computers. We're not in a color controlled environment, but it meant we could make these highlight packages look a little bit just a little bit cooler. So I was really getting into this world of symphony color grading, adding sapphire effects, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It felt to me like getting back to my sort of photography roots,
Right.
So I always loved editing, but I was getting into this, and then I got approached by a company called Digital Vision, who made a product called Film Master, which was a very top high-end film grading color system. You're talking, I don't know what the price was, but let's argue it's $200,000 for a system. It was that sort of money, $300,000. And they trained me up how to use it, which was amazing opportunity. It didn't cost me anything. They trained me and said, we want you to basically go, globally and go and teach colorists how to use our products. On that route, I started meeting international colorists and gained experience from them. So I'm teaching them how to use this product, but in the meanwhile, I'm picking up like a sponge all this color grading information that they give me, and I'm learning workflows and just how they approach literally how they approach a shot and start grading. So this was a really great opportunity for me. I got introduced to while Film Master was out, Apple Color was coming in the background. So obviously been working on Apple Macs for years and started dabbling with colour because this was affordable. I couldn't afford a 200-300 grand digital vision system. Did a BBC job for a really good director friend of mine who I still work with today, and I was the editor on that. So I did about an 6 to 8 week edit for a documentary, and I did a grade on it. And we booked in to go to Soho, which is obviously the height of post in RLA in London. Top leading colorist who's still very well known today, and we did the grade on this documentary that I'd edited, and the director at the end of it actually turned around to me and said, I actually prefer your grade.
Wow.
Which was, so they have decided that my grade's better. I can't remember which one they actually went for the broadcast, but I then got all his colour grading work. So I've now got BBC as a client, and it went off from there, really. I knew the guys from Davinci Resolve, from Blackmagic, up in Manchester, Stu and Si, who set up the sort of UK Blackmagic headquarters, and they're good friends of mine from this original company. So this all stems back to that lucky break that I got in London with this company. And they said, we've just bought Davinci Resolve systems, we've made it into a Blackmagic product, do you want to come and have a look at it? So I went up to Manchester, had a look at it, and it was a little bit clunky. It wasn't what Digital Vision had, it wasn't what Apple Color was doing, but it had really good potential. So I said, I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to use it just yet. And then another BBC job came up about 6 months later, and I had a little bit of leeway to work on this. So I said, look, I'll do this on this Resolve system. They're on the next version up, so it's version 7. And so Blackmagic kindly said, look, we'll give you support for the weekend. I said, I'll go in at the weekend. If it's looking good, I'll finish it on this. If not, I can start again on Apple Color on Monday, and we'll get the job done on time. It worked really well. And I think I even questioned and said, has anyone actually done a 1 hour doc on this? And they said, we actually think you might be the first person who's doing this. So I was like, okay, let's just do it. And I've been on Davinci Resolve ever since. And then my colorist career has just literally progressed, still under the online creative umbrella, and progressed into all this garbage that you see behind me now.
Right. You mentioned that you have BBC as a client. You've worked with apparently some pretty big name brands. Are there any that are, more memorable than others that you're allowed to talk about? I know just in our private conversations, I know you've mentioned, I think Amazon, and did you mention Netflix once to me? I can't remember. Yeah,
other clients. Obviously, we do a lot of stuff. Yeah, we do a lot of regular broadcast, ITV, BBC, Channel 4, Sky, Channel 5. That's kind of it. I wouldn't say it's our bread and butter stuff, but we do a lot of it. So I'm quite known for documentary work. But last year, picked up Amazon Music as a client.
Nice.
And done a lot of music videos last year, which is great for me because I'm a failed rock star more than I'm a colorist.
You're in good company.
Yeah, I tried. I went down that whole road, and I think at about 28, 29, I thought this is not going to work, much as I'd love it to. So to pick up Amazon Music was fantastic for me, and I got some really nice gigs. I did Royal Blood, The Streets, Rag and Bone Man, these are nice big gigs, and these are getting lots of views. So that was great for me. But I think one of my all-time highs was working with Shane Meadows, who's one of my hero directors.
Right.
Huge guy a huge name to work with. And he called me up. I'd worked with him a little bit on some test shots that we did. And he called me back and said, do you want to come and work on Liam Gallagher's new video? This is a few years ago. So I'm like, right, the Manchester scene music is just, that's my scene as well. So I'm like, this is amazing. So went up to him. He's very experimental in how he works. So this came back. I didn't go to the shoot, unfortunately, but it came back. It was filmed at a gig, and he'd filmed on 8 different camera formats, including iPhone. And I can assure you it wasn't an iPhone 13. It was, we're going back a few years, which was in a little mirror box thing. And he wanted, and all these, a few experimental formats. And then we found out he wanted the whole promo to be in black and white.
Oh, God.
So obviously then you're exposing all the artifacts and all the codec things. And there was blue neons in the club. And it was a hard one. It was a really interesting and very creative one, but that was a real highlight for me. But working with someone like Shane Meadows is on a Liam Gallagher video was fantastic, And the other highlight, obviously, I do a bit of training, I do consultancy and that sort of thing. So I've been very lucky with my work, not only traveling with the sport editing that I used to do, where I've literally seen the whole world, but I have been to every continent. I have been to every continent. So, just seeing, the Middle East. I've been to some fantastic places. So they're also, career highlights. I love traveling. I love music. But the one that I haven't had official that I can talk about it, but this has been a big project been going on here for about 6, 7, 8 months even. And Amazon Prime are doing a music documentary about the band Biffy Clyro, who, I don't know if you know Biffy Clyro, but they're a huge hit. I mean, they're a big stadium tour size band. They weren't really on my radar before I did this, but I'm absolutely into them. I mean, I've been listening to them for 6, 7 months, but so that was all done here in the edit suites here. But I did get the grade for that, which was fantastic, and the guys really let me. They wanted it looking absolutely perfect, so we got a good amount of time on it, and it looks cracking. So that's out on Amazon Prime. I don't have a release date for it. I would imagine it's imminent. The trailers have just gone out on Instagram today.
Nice. You're actually a Davinci Resolve master trainer, which is pretty cool. How does that happen? Is there like I assume you need the Davinci Resolve certifications, which you should get anyway, but like, is there additional classes that you can opt into, or do you kind of get headhunted? Like, do they ask you to become a trainer, or?
Okay. Yeah. They did ask me, but we're going back quite a few years now. So this is before the program's now huge. So it has really developed, but before they didn't really have an official sort of program, and once they did, they just asked me to go along and obviously get certified. I think it was kind of just checking how the program was written. They wanted a little bit of feedback from me. The courses are written really well. They're really well done. But they did invite me. I've done the T3 courses, which is the train the trainers. So it's the higher level that you can do. But I kind of wanted to do it. They've done a good job, and their online tutorials they're excellent. Daria and Chris Roberts and Simon Hall, Catherine. All that team, they've done a fantastic job of, putting all that together. It just, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
It's good, solid information,
Yeah, no, 100%. Let's talk about your YouTube channel real quick, because right around when the pandemic hit, you started. That's when you just suddenly appeared on YouTube.
What do you know?
And right, could you talk a little bit about what made you decide to start a YouTube channel in the first place? Timing wise, I'm assuming it has something to do with the pandemic.
It absolutely does. Yeah. We literally, we went to lockdown 1 and work stopped here. There was no filming going on. It just literally fell off the end of the world. I was doing nothing. So I had 3 months chilling with my family. I live back in Brighton again now, but we lived in the countryside about 5-6 miles away from here on the South Downs. It's beautiful. We're just chilling out with the dog, and I was like, actually, I'm really not earning much money here. This is not going too well. So I didn't start YouTube to earn money. I did it more to keep. I just wanted to do something like that. I had an app years ago called Killer Tips Davinci Resolve, which was an iPhone app, and Android actually. I was looking after your Android users. I then thought, let's give YouTube a go. Why not? And I was looking at the content. I started searching Davinci Resolve and realized that I thought there was a bit of a gap in the market for someone who's, I'm a colorist first. That's what I do. I'm a colorist. And obviously I'm very proficient in the whole software, particularly the edit and cut page, but the color page is really my passion. And obviously I've been teaching for years.
Yeah.
I thought, let's just do it, and it looked awful to start with, as you can all have a look at my early ones there. I had a Sony A7S II, no lights, a little rubbish USB mic thing that I probably had about 15 feet away from my, I'm definitely post, okay? I'm definitely no DP or sound engineer. That is 100%. And it's sort of slowly improved. But the take up was, I couldn't believe it. I got 1,000 in 3 weeks.
Jeez.
Which was just nuts. And I'm like, and then I started researching, is 1,000 good? And they're like, it should, a good channel can take 1 to 2 years to get 1,000.
Yeah. That took about a year and a half.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is great. So within less than 6 months, I had 10,000 already. So I'm like, okay, this is worth doing. So I set myself a goal of Christmas. So I started it in June. Set myself a goal of Christmas, like go for it, and just keep doing it, see what happens. And I think I was at 13,000 by Christmas. I can't remember the exact figures, but I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I could give it 6 proper months. If it's going somewhere, go for it, and if not, don't. So I'm sticking at it for a bit. I enjoy it. It's really hard work because obviously I do have a lot of work. In fact, last year was probably my busiest year for work ever.
Oh, nice.
And I'm trying to shoehorn YouTube videos in. Yeah. And I moved house last year and a few other things going on in my world that were, you got to feed that beast, as you know. And, so yeah, I now hats off to everyone who does YouTube on a regular basis. I know personally how much graft that is, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's really rewarding. I love giving away my knowledge. I'm hopefully giving something a little bit different than the other channels. It's just a nice little sideline to what I do here. I do spend too many Saturdays in here now catching up on recording episodes, and I would love to get more out if I could, but I just can't. I have to see my kids.
It's a lot of
daylight,
work.
Actually, I work in the dark a lot.
Right. Yeah, me too. Has the success of your channel affected your business at all, either in a positive or negative way? Like, has it led to new clients or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's done me any harm. I don't think it's really changed. Like, I've not suddenly picked up extra broadcast work from it by any stretch. I've picked up a couple of corporate gigs. Someone phoned me up and said, so a company phoned me from Switzerland actually and said, "Oh, we really like your channel. Do you do color grading?" I'm like, well, yeah. It's like where I am getting work and a lot of inquiries is people want training. They want one-to-one training with me, and I really enjoy doing that. I wish I could do a bit more of it, but I can't squeeze it in, and I want people to have quality time if they're doing it with me. So I guess on that side of it, I could probably half my color grading work and pick it up with training if I wanted to, but color grading is still my passion, really. You're a colorist. That's you gotta feed that beast too. Well, and even on the if I've got downtime, I've also still got to practice my skills. The software's changing all the time. Yeah. The looks are changing all the time. You got HDR, all this sort of stuff that I have to play with and keep on top of my game. And that needs time. You can't just suddenly be great at doing HDR grading because you've got the kit. You've got to push and pull and break stuff, and so when a client does come here, I'm confident in what I'm doing. You really do need hours playing with stuff. You've got to, if people want to look, you've got to know where to go. And be used to your footage, So I know how Arri behaves. I know how Sony S-Log behaves. Would you believe it?
While Darren answers that phone call, let me take a minute to tell you about today's sponsor, Riverside FM. Riverside FM is an app that lets you do remote interviews, but we're not talking about Zoom calls here. We're talking about high quality, production ready interviews at the click of a button. Here's how it works. When you're conducting your interview, Riverside is recording a local copy of both yours and your guest's video and audio, and then they upload that to the cloud. So the files that you're downloading are actually super high quality instead of things that are just streamed to the cloud like, Zoom. Once your files are uploaded, you have the choice to download the files separately so you can edit it yourself, or you can download a pre-edited version straight from Riverside, which can save a ton of time. So if you're a podcaster or you do remote video interviews like I do, make sure you click the link in the description and check out Riverside FM today. All right, Darren should be done with this phone call now. I got one more question kind of about the business side of being a colorist, and it's more of like being a colorist versus being kind of a jack of all trades editor, because a lot of people now, especially in like the commercial world, and especially in the YouTube world, people are less interested in being a specialist in something like color or audio, and more interested in being more of a generalist. Is there room for a generalist in kind of the film and television and broadcast world? Like, the only place I can really see it fitting is maybe as an assistant running around doing little odd jobs for the specialists. But is that even a thing? Like, is there any room for a generalist editor?
And there's sort of two sides to this. I mean, the sort of jack of all trades, if you like, the fact that you can do everything has been led by the software, really. I mean, when I was starting out, you didn't have access to audio and compositing and VFX and color grading and editing. There were separate bits of software that were very expensive. Yeah. Now, with the Premiere Suite and Resolve and whatever, you've got everything in front of you. I mean, you've got all that for free with Resolve. So I think. Yeah, the fact that the tools are there allowing you to play with it and experiment with which areas you you want to more specialize in is much more prevalent today because you can.
Right.
And I think that is why we're seeing a lot of very multi-skilled editors who can do some good audio sweetening and are pretty good in compositing tools. But I think the traditional editors, your traditional offline storytellers type editors, your onliners who are specialists in what's going to fail a QC, what needs to be done to get a program through QC, dealing with interlace footage, titling, graphics, removing things, enhancing things. That's a skill that takes a time to develop, and I don't think you've got the time to develop being a good online or offline editor or colorist or audio dub mixer or whatever your craft is, and be good at all the other things in the same level.
Right.
That specialist is going to be quicker. They're going to be more up to date on the latest trends, and they're a specialist in their field for that very reason. So I'm still kind of on the traditional side that you really, if you want to get your name out there in broadcast world, you're going to have to specialize down in at least one or two areas.
So since we're diving into it a little bit, let's actually talk about the art of color grading now. I've watched your videos and I've watched other color grading videos and videos from people who are, they do specialize in color grading and they do, at least they call themselves colorists. I don't know if I've ever seen any of their work, but whatever, they call themselves colorists. And I know when I was first starting out, it was kind of hard to tell, what's the right way to do it? Because you always assume when you're first starting out that there's a right way to do it, It takes a while to realize, no, as long as your footage isn't falling apart and it looks the way you want it to look, you're good. But could you just, for the absolute beginner who's, just getting into maybe color grading their first YouTube video, kind of give us a baby's first color grading workflow?
Okay, well, that definitely won't go flying with 18. I mean, I've got a project literally open behind me. I think that's a 15 node tree.
Right.
But it doesn't, and that's a documentary. I can see at a glance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 8 of them are not being used. So just because I work off what's called a fixed node tree.
Right.
I think you need to know a little bit about what you're doing before you start working on fixed node trees. But this is to help me with speed and discipline, really, and being allowed to take whole scenes and adjust them in one button. So
right.
That's more advanced workflow. I think to start with, just I presume we're talking about Davinci Resolve.
Right.
Start off with 1, 2, or 3, just serial nodes. Get your exposure right first. Just get the shot looking good. It's good. It's potentially going to be in a log color space. Mm-hmm. So it's going to look milky and washed out. If you don't understand color management or you're a little bit scared of color management, it's actually pretty straightforward, but you can do auto color management, but you can literally just take your offset, bring your level so it's in a sort of happy place, bring your lift, gamma and gain, so lift being your sort of shadows, gain being your highlights, just stretch those out a little bit. You're effectively putting a bit of contrast in it. That's going to get your image at a half decent level, bit of saturation in there probably. And I would say beginner's baby steps, that's your great first node. So I think, just get your exposure right first, get that looking good, and then start playing with the toys. So then you want to start, do you want to go warmer? Do you want to go colder? Do you want to, make your blacks a bit bluer and all those sort of looks? But get the thing looking good to start with. That's what's really important. And that's going to teach you, once you've got those steps right, that everything's balanced to start with, it's then easier to make scenes look coherent and consistent. Mm-hmm. Okay, because everything's bad. You might have some stuff that's overexposed, some stuff that's underexposed. Get all that exposure just about in the right place, and then you can start playing with your looks on top.
You watch something, you may watch a show on Netflix or Amazon, and you've got these really intense color grades, but then other things, they actually look more natural. So how do you kind of draw the line of how far to push the grade? How extreme do you make it?
I mean, it's normally a conversation between the director, the DP, or one of those or both of those. Right. It's a combination of those elements. It's not my program to decide, hey, it's going to look like this, and I think it looks brilliant. It's not my show. It's the director's show, or it's the team's show. Right. But really, I'm taking the director's call or whoever's calling the shots, and communicating with them. And literally, when we start a session, I literally have, it's in my head, but kind of a phrase book that I will present to them just to say, here's how we talk in colour. Some people don't know how to talk in colour. Obviously, reference looks that they bring in to the studio.
Right.
So they can bring us something from a series that they're watching or a film. We can load that into the suite, analyze it.
What if it is your project though? Like say a YouTube video, because so the scenario I'm thinking of.
I don't grade my YouTube videos.
Right.
I used to but before I had lights and realised actually, do you know what? And it's probably the worst colour grading I ever did, and it was colour grading me. And I look back at now, and I'm bright orange. It's like, Jesus, I'm trying to show people how to colour grade here, and I can't colour grade a shot of myself because it was shot so bad because I'm not a DP. I mean, I don't really do my own projects. If someone says to me, just do what you want on it. I mean, obviously the music videos, you've got a chance to actually really go for it. So I can bring I'm bringing to the table my look on it.
What advice would you give to somebody? I know you kind of just fell into it, but hindsight is hopefully 2020. If you were starting again, like what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to become a colorist, a professional colorist?
I mean, there's a few avenues to take. I mean, firstly, there's never been a better time to get into this industry. There is more content being made now than ever before. I mean, Apple, Disney, and Netflix and Amazon between it. I mean, the money that's going into new production, which is keeping the big boys happy. And
right.
Then my little production companies, we're getting busier and busier because they can't necessarily take on all those other jobs that were around.
Right.
So it really is a fantastic time to get into the industry. A lot of on-set stuff happening. So certainly going in, assisting and DIT. Mm-hmm. You can learn a lot about color management and cameras specifically, and on-set grading is a really good place to start. See if you can just be on set and just watch that happening. Okay. Obviously, download Resolve for free and start playing. Film school is obviously a great route. Get in with post facilities. I know it's hard, but they are growing. There's more of them getting up there. Try and help out. Just shadow. I get a lot of requests here. I do have people come in. If you've got friends in a band, offer to grade their reel. Or grade their music promo. Do it with enough time. If they don't like it, they can always go and pay for it to be done somewhere else. But those are great ways to actually show off your skill and experiment. Because you can kind of push a music video, but it's still assistant, work your way up. There's no shortcut to this. There really is no shortcut, which goes back to the kind of jack of all trades thing. You need to learn where you want to be. DIT is a fantastic job opportunity. You're going to travel a lot. You're going to be on set. That's a skill in itself. That's a whole job. Do you want to be a colorist assistant? Do you want to be a colorist? Do you want to sit in the dark all day? It's, you don't get out much. Go to corporate companies, phone up corporate production companies, say, can I just come in? I'll just grade a few corporates for you. You need those skills. There's no shortcut. You've got to do your porridge. That's for sure. But there are ways in there. I think the opportunities are bigger and better. There's more choice of film schools now as well, and or even just short vocational courses. You've got to learn your codecs, learn your cameras. Don't get bogged down with HDR yet and all that sort of stuff. Just get into ground level what color grading is, what color management is, and use the free tools. This stuff was not around when I was, I'd love to be starting out now. I think it's a very exciting opportunity. I think it's not going away. It's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Well,
Darren, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot. And
I'm always learning, And that's the thing. Don't forget, I'm 53. I am still learning. It's does not stop.
Absolutely. Where can people find you, my friend?
Well, I'm all over YouTube. Hopefully you're finding me on YouTube. I'm going to carry on doing that. So that's just Darren Mostyn, my name. Instagram a little bit. I tend to post my stills of my actual work. So YouTube's a bit more, how'd you do this and why'd you do that? Instagram is, you'll see actual examples of my work on there. But Instagram is @onlinecreativepost, one word. And I'm trying to get a bit more active on there. But YouTube and Instagram is probably the best bet. And the website's just online-creative.com if you want to book me for grading or training, whatever. So,
all right, man. Well, thank you so much. I know you gotta get out to your next thing, and
I also just like to say thank you to you as well. You really kind to me when I was first starting out on my channel. I really, really enjoy watching your channel. All right, but good luck with it. Really nice chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Look after yourself. Take care.
If you want to check out Darren's work, learn more about what he does, all of his links will be down below, so I highly suggest you check them out, give him a watch, give him a like, give him a subscribe. Now, like I said, this is just a small portion of what ended up being a much longer conversation about being a pro colorist. If you want to get your hands on the uncut version of this interview, just click the join button below this video and sign up to become a channel member today. Channel members get access to extended and uncut versions of my videos, any presets that I create, and members only live streams. It's only a couple bucks a month and we'd love to have you, so click that join button and sign up today. Creative Minds will be back next month with an interview that I am super excited about, so make sure you're subscribed and have that bell rung so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.